All set for sign up please for
Let's go.
Coffee, nectar of the gods. Boy.
That what usually chocolate was.
I actually don't even have any chocolate
Hot
in the house at
chocolate.
the moment. I need chocolate. I don't have any
Hot
chocolate
chocolate
right now.
was called by the Indians nectar of the gods.
Nectar of the gods.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, it was super expensive too. I was reading an article a couple of months ago talking about when cocoa first came into England, that it was like so expensive that only like the very richest of people could possibly afford it because it was like ludicrously expensive. Yeah, on par with gold type thing as far of like trading assets. You can be like, oh well, I got a kilo of cocoa sitting over here. I'm rich. Ha ha ha. Let's see if I can push this back a little without knocking anything off the counter. So, yeah.
Chocolate-backed currencies.
Chocolate-backed currencies. It's where it should be. Let's talk about things of real value. Fuck gold? Who cares about gold? Chocolate. Chocolate has real intrinsic value.
Gives a new
yes, indeed.
definition to fat cats.
Say that again, Monty?
Gives a new definition to fat cats then.
Yeah. Yeah.
I ate my fortune.
Yeah.
But seriously,
probably happened to me. Actually, I
a
need to
year
get some
ago,
decent. I need to get some decent cocoa. I haven't been able to get some really good quality cocoa in the last month, so I'm gonna have to go digging around to find some good cocoa.
seriously, a year ago or so, you couldn't find in the regular grocery stores any high quality, any high percentage chocolate bar anymore. They were gone. And then I heard somewhere that they were having difficulties with the harvest because of the weather changes or something like that. They were saying, but now it's everything okay again. I'm wondering what was going on. Perhaps somebody already thought about
and bought up all the fucking
bread.
cocoa on us. So it was like, shit, god damn it, we're behind the times again. Damn it. Oh, well,
Sounds like we're going into prison. Next will be cigarettes.
Yeah. Well, Gorf just said wealth hoarding can't occur if it's a commodity that has a shelf life. And the ancient Egyptians backed their coins with wheat for that reason. That's a very, very, very good point because it would have to be in circulation and used up. That's a really good point. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, well, my darlings. Welcome to the next level of insanity. It's September. Now, I know we already had one show in September, but now it's September 9th. It's September. Remember September, apparently.
Wake me up when September ends.
Yeah, wake me up when September ends, except in this case, it might wake me up when 2020 ends. Might be the better way of putting it. I'm gonna rant a lot today because shit is just jumped a level again. And the shit that we see coming out, this shit that's going on, really we should almost talk in code to make sure that we don't get frickin' censored by the bots, etc. But I don't even know if I've got that much brain power in me to do that. I don't know if you guys have read the news today. So I'll talk about today, and we'll work backwards from today. England is now back in another lockdown situation again. Just announced last night that because of a sudden peak in cases, yes, no gatherings of more than 6 people. No gatherings of more than 6 people are allowed. By law, they've passed new law that no gatherings of more than 6 people are allowed. That means, because my family has 6 people in our family, we literally cannot have a meet with anyone else. Literally, in the article on the BBC, the person who's interviewing says, well, it may mean that, you're only going to be able to see one grandparent at a time because, in our family, we have 5 people in our family, which means we would only be allowed to visit either grandma or grandpa. We can't do both. We'd have to do, insanity, because if grandma and grandpa live together, so what, does grandpa have to stay up in his bedroom while you go over and meet grandma? What difference would that make? The illogic behind this is insane. You cannot meet with more than 6 people can meet together from 2 households too, limited to 2 households. So it's not like you can say 6 single people can meet up. No. 6 people total from between 2 households can meet up. Outside or inside. All outside activities are banned. All indoor activities are banned, except for some. Now, I'm hoping I still have the article up. Please tell me I still have the article up. Fuck, I've
What
closed
happens
it.
when you have 7 people in your family? Like if you had
I know,
5 kids?
that's my question. That's my fucking hold on, I've got to find it. I'm going to pull up the article again because I have to read you a couple of excerpts out of this. Your brains are going to literally go poof. Hold on. Come on. Where's the BBC
I don't know. I'm in
article?
Victoria, so I'll
There
be
it
like,
is. There it is. Okay. So get this. Okay. So, hold on. Bear with me. So this is an article in the BBC. The law change will ban larger groups from meeting anywhere socially, indoors or outdoors. But it will not apply to schools, workplaces, or, and this is a good one, COVID secure weddings, funerals, and organized sport teams. What is a COVID secure wedding? Anyone? And
Hazmat suits.
so does that mean you have to be in full hazmat suits to go to the wedding? So does it like the bride wears the veil on the outside of her suit so we all know that that's the bride?
Or everyone is in isolation for 2 weeks beforehand and they get tested and then go into the same room.
And then 2 weeks out, they have to go into full isolation for another 2 weeks after the wedding? Is that what it is? Will not apply to schools, workplace, COVID secure weddings, funerals, and organized team sports. It'll be enforced a £100 fine if people fail to comply, doubling each offense up to a maximum of £3,200. At present, the guidance says 2 households of any size are allowed to meet indoors or outdoors. But that's now changing. At present, that's what the rule is right now. This comes into force September 14th because, again, COVID is such a smart virus that it's not going to affect anyone right now, but it will affect everyone as of September 14th. Hold on here.
Hey, Danny.
Hold on, dude. Just let
Sounds
me,
like Guy's Garden is about to get a lot more food.
Just wait. Give me a second here. And here you go. It says it means that some families will not be able to see both grandparents at the same time. He says, as you know, I have 3 children. We have a family of 5, so we'll only be able to see one other person at a time as a whole family. He says, this minister is being challenged that this rule, the new rules could stop grandparents from being able to help out with childcare. And he says, oh no, we're not actively trying to do that. Really? Okay. It says, our government is quite worried about a very serious problem of children potentially passing the virus on to older grandparents, which has been disproven. There's not a single proven case of transmission from a child to someone who is elderly. Now, hold on. This just gets better. So, what are the new rules at a glance? Social gatherings of more than 6 people in England will not be allowed in law from Monday, the 14th of September. The new rule applies to people in private homes, indoor and outdoor, places such as pubs, restaurants, cafes, and outdoor spaces. You will not allow to have more than 6 people in the pub at one time. You will not be allowed to have more than 6 people in a restaurant or a pub or a cafe at one time.
Is it customers and staff, or?
Well, I don't know. Like, this is the whole thing. So, hold on, because they do actually talk about this. Hold on. Hold on, I'm trying to find the actual bit where they talk about the pubs. Get this way. We hope to turn it around by Christmas. Matt Hancock says the rules would be in place for the foreseeable future. We really hope we can turn this around before Christmas. Yep, before Christmas. Now, I'm trying to find the bit about pubs, so just give me a second here, because this is just craziness. Give me the thing about the pubs. Come on. Sorry, guys, it's quite a long article, so I'm kind of scrolling through all of this. 10 Downing Street said any group of 7 or more people gathering anywhere risks being dispersed by the police or fined for non-compliance. Here we go. Political correspondent Nick Erdley pointed out that pubs and restaurants would be allowed to have more than 6 customers inside, but the groups of 6 would have to be socially distanced from each other. Now, how does a restaurant tell people they have to be socially, like in a pub situation, how do they get to be socially distanced from each other? This is crazy. And we already know it's already been put out by the BBC. The BBC carried a bloody article, an interview with a woman who talked about the fact that England's ways of measuring the numbers of COVID are wrong, because some of these COVID tests that they're counting are multiples of the same person. Like the same person who's had 2 or 3 COVID tests, and they're counting that each one is an individual, and that the numbers are extremely skewed. This is coming a week after the CDC quietly reevaluated their numbers down to a ridiculously low level of how many people actually have died from COVID. This is coming after all of these announcements are coming out, talking about all the different problems. Well, this is it. Okay, Peg, this is it. You're a family of 10, 8 kids. What do you do? Like, what? But the kids can go to school? But the kids can still go to school. They can still go to school, but they have to wear masks, even though we know the masks don't work. I mean, it says right on those stupid paper masks that they don't bloody work to block COVID particles. So the kids can all go to school. Everyone can go to work, if your job hasn't been closed down, as long as you wear a mask, which doesn't work and doesn't stop the spread of COVID. It's insane.
Plus, how can you socially distance in a pub when you got one drunk guy hanging off of you? You know, like, hey, buddy, yeah, man, you know, like, yeah, no, that's
in the
not
bar.
social.
Yeah, exactly. Now, hold on. I'm trying to go through the because the chat's going absolutely crazy here. Yeah, Rona. Let's call it the Rona. This is, I don't know if you guys followed what happened. Of course, we talked about it last week about Australia. We talked about the arrest video. And there were a lot of people who came out afterwards going, oh, it's a fake video, it's a fake video, it's a fake video. No, it wasn't a fucking fake video, folks. It was not a fake fucking video. And after the arrest video, which happened the same day we did the show last week, of the woman who was pregnant in her home, there were 3 more videos that people captured of people being arrested, the same shit. They'd organized online petitions or made posts on social media, etc., and they got arrested. So I talked to a good buddy of mine who's in Sydney. Now, Sydney is obviously nowhere near the condition as what like Monty's going through down in his area near Victoria. We had a long conversation today, and he said it was crazy. He said, so this past weekend was the weekend that where all these protests were supposed to happen. And he said that because of all these arrests and because of all the bullshit of what the police were saying in Victoria, like how hard, and not just in Victoria, all over the place, they were going to come down hard. He said a lot of people were really terrified. Now, the other thing that happened is all the groups that had been made on Facebook were closed. They went in and closed down every Facebook group that had to do with protests. Some of them had upwards of 150,000 members, and they just closed them. So he went to the protests on Saturday in Sydney. He went to 2 different ones. He went one in the morning, one in the afternoon. He said in the one in the morning, only 50 people showed up for the entire protest. He says because people were just terrified. He said 50 people showed up. There were over 150 cops there. The cops were dressed in full-on militarized riot gear. Full on. They had the big trucks there to haul people away, etc. He said it was the energy was so good from the people. Like everyone who was there, it was really peaceful. Everyone was not. There weren't people being assholes. They were just gathering and showing support for what's going on behind the idea of the protest. If anyone opened their mouth to try and talk to the audience, the cops came, threw them to the ground, and arrested them and called them off. Apparently at one of the protests, somebody just tried to form a drum circle, and he started drumming, and people got up and started dancing, and the cops came and threw the drummer to the ground and hauled him off and arrested him. It was, he said, the most unbelievable outward display of militant dictatorship. You would have thought you were back in Nazi Germany or Soviet Russia back in the 1950s. It was unbelievable. And he said there was a reporter there, mainstream media reporter. So we wanted to talk to her to try and get a feel, try and get to get the feel from her. What is she thinking? What is her thoughts on the protests, on what's going on with the lockdown, what's going on with all these things? And he said to me, he said, Danny, he says, I'm not the type of person. He's one of the most lovely people in the world. He doesn't insult people. Like, he's just not that type of person. He said, this woman was so fucking stupid. So completely and utterly devoid of anything remotely like original thought. It was astounding. It was literally astounding. And when he went to the second protest in Sydney, he said the same thing happened. Very few people actually showed up. The cops were all militarized out there. Here's the thing. Like, we're talking, people are starting to freak out. Now, there's a lot of people who are defending shit, trying to go, oh, well, it's their fault, people who got arrested. Oh, it's their fault. They shouldn't have been doing this. They should have been, be good little plebeians and just stay at home and not do anything to stand up for their rights. But he said, like, his overwhelming feeling is that, like, people are really, in Australia, really starting to take a little bit of note now and go, holy shit. So, Monty, what happened down your area? Did any of the protests happen down in Victoria?
Yeah, well, personally, I just had a normal Saturday because I'm not going out there.
Yeah.
It's too batshit crazy. However, one of the videos that you may have seen is the video is from a balcony outside the like 2-story house.
Yep.
And he's ex-military and yoga, and he just said on his video, "I'm going to the protest. If you want to go, you go, or don't go. It's up to you." So the next day, the police turn up, and because he didn't comply instantly, they actually got a small battering ram.
And smash his door down.
Yeah, and gets thrown to the ground and gets arrested, and it's all on the video type thing. So we'll talk about the energy shift last week as well, which is fascinating for the timing. But 5th of September, hundreds of people did turn up to. It was supposed to be, they were thinking somewhere in the CBD, the Central Business District of Melbourne, and walk up to Parliament. But they moved it to the Shrine of Remembrance, which is for World War One. And it's a really big sort of park, and Main Army were all volunteer. Back in World War One, and so that people got shit for that. It's like, how dare they dishonor those men that fought for our freedoms?
Fuck's sake.
Okay, but I've seen footage where people turning so they didn't give the police any excuse to do anything, and they're all there for about 15 minutes because it started at 11, and around about 11:15 it turned from peaceful to just a hint of anarchy because the police moved, and there was I think up to 100 cops. The mounted police turned up, and because if I'm trying to describe the shrine, it's going to be a bit hard, but there's like a massive walkway up to the main building and stairs, and so it's grandiose style, sort of, even Romans are going, wow, that's big type of deal. So, and the police just started away and started arresting people, and they basically caused the negative thing. Everyone else was like the drum circle, lighthearted, and they were happy, and just being there was a protest enough, if that makes sense.
Just being noted is like, we don't like this.
It wasn't that you would try and open. And so then the police moved in, and they dispersed. Then they moved apparently to Albert Park, which is 10, 15-minute walk. And then they clamped down even harder on that. And at one point they corralled a small group. How the police do it. It seems to be a worldwide tactic where they surround a group of people. They have a buffer zone from, say, 5 meters, and then one by one they take one out and gets arrested. Interesting enough, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the alternative journalist Avi Yemeni, I think his name is. He was reporting from that. He had all the forms and everything else. Like, there were roadblocks to get in, so
that was what I heard, that no one could even get in.
No one turned up, so so there's people saying, the protest didn't work, you didn't get the numbers. It's like, because 2 days earlier, you had the Victorian police, up until 20 years ago, would shoot you for jaywalking. There's a history of Victorian police just using their weaponry, sort of Americans, worse than Americans, basically. And so there was that fear of, well, getting a fine's okay, but it's the Victorian police, so who knows what will happen. He went through because he's got this all on tape. He went through a checkpoint and had all the permits. So Nazi Germany. Yeah, papers, please. I've got all the papers.
Papers, please. Yeah, let me see. Do you have a right to be here? Yeah.
Purpose of being here. Yep. And he's a recognized press. Like, he's done all the right thing, which is a smart thing to do, because he's playing the game to show the corruption in a sort of way. And he's in between two lines of police with the other journalists, like photographers and cameramen. And then one copper just comes up and says, right, this man needs to be arrested. He's interfering or something like that. He gets crash tackled to the ground, gets handcuffed, and then walked away. He had a lapel mic on, so everything that happened afterwards was recorded as well. And all he wasn't. The copper said he was warned, and then you refused, so that's why we arrested you. And yet the footage is he's standing there actually talking to camera, doing a little piece, and the police just take him out because the police know who he is. Because he also did video footage of Black Lives Matter, and he's not following the mainstream media narrative
rules.
And so that as well. And there were protests all around, even in Canada as well, about the Victorian situation. It was like, ooh, nice. And so there's the whole thing's gone global. And because of the reaction of the police, and they were full riot gear, militarized, everything else like that, they're expecting, burning cars type action. And you've got basically common sense / hippie people like, hey, freedom,
peace, and
stop this, you naughty.
Let's have a drum circle and dance out our frustration.
Yeah, and then let's pummel your face in with a jackboot. There is another protest this Saturday because a lot of people are just gone, well, fuck this. Pardon my French.
We'll do it next Saturday too. A
la
Yellow Vest, Chapter 2.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing is, on Sunday, the Premier, whose nickname is Dictator Dan or King Jung Dan, or because he's made a contract with the Belt and Road Initiative.
Yep.
And we don't know what's in that agreement. So, this is where we start to get a bit sort of woo-woo conspiracy theory or conspiracy research. Because, children, tunnels, there's been loud booms, mini earthquakes, planes, like the curfew will still, no, I'm going to go all over the place. So if anyone's trying to follow linear, my mind doesn't do that right now because there's so much information and I'm trying to be Zen like Jedi instead of like screaming at all you lovely people. And another thing, you fucking, the curfew is still, I'm just sort of rocking backwards and forth. Just another 2 weeks, just another 2 weeks, just another 2 weeks. They said that in March. The curfew is still on till 26th of October. So that's at least another 6 weeks. That's right. First of all, stage 4, which sounds like where England or the UK is heading towards, because that sounds like stage 3 level of stupidity. Stage 4 would be clamping down on everyone. So they've extended it for 2 weeks because the numbers aren't coming down.
And so we'll do it more because stupidity, the definition of stupidity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. So let's just keep extending it by 2 weeks, and the numbers don't come down, so it's extended another 2 weeks because obviously stupidity says it's not working.
Oh, exactly. Yes. Now I'll say this point at the start, at the end, as a reminder, because I've thought about, because I do this show and I do my own show. So you formulate, this is stand-up in me. It's like, I could put this here and put that there, and then the elephant can come in and get a laugh. The roadmap, which seems to be drawn by a blind drunk person, like,
For you mean the Silk Road map?
Yeah, a little bit like that. Yeah, like, oh, look, a mountain. They need to have no cases for 14 days, and then they'll move forward with the lockdown, which could be 17 years because things are shitty. So,
because we know the tests don't test for COVID, the tests will pick up anything that's coronavirus based, including previous flu shots.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember which country it is, but the African guy that we've got 3 cases back positive for COVID. Unfortunately, it was from a goat, a guava, and avocado.
Yeah. That was.
Yeah. Sorry.
Was that Namibia? No.
I don't. It was a small country, so I apologize to them. Yeah. Actually, I saw a headline in the last couple of days. Scientists are baffled at the lack of coronavirus in Africa. I wonder if it's a malaria drug. Just putting it out.
Or I wonder if it's the fact that they're not testing everyone there.
Yeah. I jokingly said a couple of weeks ago, if you don't want to get COVID, don't get tested. And it's like, oh, that's one of those truth jokes.
Yeah, so, exactly.
So stage 4 was supposed to end this Sunday on the 13th. They've extended it for 2 weeks, but there's slight changes. Our warden is allowing us out for an extra hour of exercise,
So
and the
nice
curfew
of him. He's so sweet.
and because we're going into summer, there's more sunlight, so curfew is moved from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Oh,
also,
that's lovely.
I know, aren't they?
So
special?
scientists, it's nice to know that they take science into the mix.
Well, see, that's an interesting thing as the brain. Like, if anyone's following what I'm saying, I'm so sorry, because it's like, you know, that meme where the guy's trying to explain stuff and there's pages and string everywhere. It came out. The chief health officer, you know, the head doctor dude. He was asked about. So, what was the medical reason for having the curfew? Oh, we didn't suggest that. That was someone else. Well, hang on. The Premier said it was for medical thing, and apparently it's from the police, because it's easier to police people in the light, strangely enough, because you can see them. And so this is all little things that are sort of chipping away at the dam. It's like, wait a minute, that type of thing. So
this is the shit. This is what I'm saying. Like illogical. Like I'm saying, even the UK stuff. I can't go. I'm supposed to be going to a big birthday party that a friend has organized for her daughter's 21st birthday. That she has been planning for months. She's put so much work and time and effort, and I haven't had a chance to talk to her yet today, but I guarantee she's probably devastated, because she's pretty much, it's going to have to be postponed now, right? No gatherings of more than 6 people. We were supposed to go down to where they are in England to go spend the weekend for this party. But now technically, by the rules, it's not even like we've booked accommodations, so technically we could still go. But by the rules, I couldn't even go see my own friend who's there around the corner, because our family has 6 people. So therefore, but the kids can still go to school, you can still go to work, you can still go to the grocery store, you can still go to the pub, which they've got to do, because there's no, like, the economy has taken such a massive fucking hit. I don't understand. Like, the illogic is so, it's the elephant in the room that is deafening.
The thing
Go ahead, Aaron.
The thing that, I mean, that doesn't make sense to me logically. Just only have 6 people, but also a home business. I mean, what would stop them from just hiring more employees?
I don't know. I don't
to see their grandparents or family, or, I mean, I feel like if you have a business and business aren't restricted, how can you have more people in a home business, but not if you don't have a business? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
So there you go. There's the best thing to do is start a home business. Say that you're a home business and you've hired all your family to work for you for that weekend on the home business. There you go.
What else? Because I should have written it all down. So yeah, after the extension of stage 4, there's slight changes. They're trying single 6 months ago, because they realized people are having mental health issues, and people are alone and stuff. So now if say I know someone else who's I can probably go to someone else's house if they're single, so I can have a single buddy just to hang out with. It's similar to the intimate rule, where apparently you can't see your grandparents, but you can go have sex. We're like, well, that's nice. What else? It's just so shitty. Businesses will have to wait till October the 26th to try and open up. And then restaurants and everything else, there's another thing in November the 23rd. And none of this is set in stone, apparently, because it's all based on numbers. They want to get rid of lockdown after 14 days of 0 or 5 cases a day or 0 cases a day. This is the problem, where there was so much information all done at once, and it's so absurd. The memory's gone. Fuck off. You're on your own. So my brain's sort of scattered.
Hold on, Monty. I got to ask a
And,
question. Joanna just asked, is it true that Australia wants to stop alcohol and tobacco sales?
Oh, no, of course not. On the 1st of September, tobacco raised in price by 12%.
Again?
Yeah, every 6 months. Alcohol and tobacco basically goes up every 6 months.
And for those of
It's a
you in
luxury.
America who think that you pay a lot for tobacco, this packet of tobacco, which is a 30-gram packet, when I was there, when I was in Australia in 2016, that was $35. What is it now?
I bought a 25-gram packet for $54.
Okay, so a packet slightly smaller than this in Australia is now $54. $54. Now, I understand it's Australian dollars, which is kind of like monopoly money. It's right up there with the Canadian dollar, as in virtually worthless.
I think it's about 70 cents per 70 cents US for $1 Australian.
Yeah. So you're still talking about $45 American for a packet of tobacco in Australia right now.
Yeah, and that's the cheapest tobacco, because if you have pre-made filters and everything else like that, that's more.
Oh, yeah. Like if you actually buy a pack of cigarettes, a pack of cigarettes is even more. Way more.
And that's the bottle shops, as we call them. They're open. They're essential because Australians like to drink, as you would know, Danny, by hanging out with Australians. Even just a quiet 7. If they shut down the alcohol and go into prohibition, you'll have a revolution.
There will be an instant revolution.
Or virus or anything. It's like, I'm thirsty, you bitch.
Well, I mean, that was the joke here in Australia, right? Was like they closed down all the pubs, but they made all the alcohol stores that sell alcohol were considered, necessary to have open.
Yeah, essential. Yeah.
So essential. So that's the only reason why people didn't literally have a revolution, was because at least they can still get a beer.
And we've got the welfare safety net as well. So you get the dole, which is job seeker, and there's job keeper, where the government's paying companies money to keep people employed by companies that aren't open. And 3 generations, if nothing changes, 3 generations down the track, they'll be still paying off the debt if nothing happens. But we know something will definitely happen by then. If not, I'm having kids and teaching them all about the New World Order. There was an obituary from an elderly gentleman who just passed away in his sleep, family man, everything else like that. But right at the end, it said, and you'll love this, there will be a memorial service once the dictator has taken down.
Nice touch. That's a nice touch. If you're going to do an obituary, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Deb, can you find out if that organic roll your own tobacco will ship to England, please?
I know it won't come to Australia.
No, I know. You can't bring anything into Australia. Oh.
Yeah.
With tobacco prices like that, man, I'm saying this could be, for me, if I were a smoker, it would be like, no, I'm just gonna stop.
Yeah.
Earl, you know what? Listen, Earl, my darling, my love, I swore that I'd quit smoking cigarettes when cigarettes would reach $2.50 a pack.
Yeah,
just to put that into perspective.
Pack. Yeah, back the early 90s.
Yeah.
I've been there.
So that was like the late 80s, early 90s, when cigarettes went to $2.50 a pack, and there was literally like blood almost in the streets. People were so mad, and I swore then that I was going to quit. So it doesn't work that way, Earl. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
that's why it's called an addiction.
There is a hint of. But there's also it's a grounding mechanism spiritually, a little bit. I'm not saying it's like everyone goes smoke and hock up a lung, but
no. There's
just
a
little
piece there.
thing, and it's.
There's a piece to
noticed,
that.
by watching a lot of people, everyone that's part of shit is just wet. way too whack. Sorry, I don't know.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to add something here to everyone watching this video. I'm really sorry. My internet is shockingly bad. Shockingly bad. So it's like I'm getting the like you freeze Monty, and then all of a sudden you get like about 8 words that come out in 1 second all together smashed in. So I'm really sorry, everyone. I want to talk on this too. This is a really important one. We keep talking about technologies failing, all these kinds of strange technological websites going down, etc., etc., and internet getting worse and worse. It has been insane. And I was joking with this friend of mine in Australia this morning when I was talking to him and saying, our internet was bad. Our internet was bad. That's why the show got moved to the afternoon time, because my evening internet is just really not good enough to support doing shows like this, which is why we changed the time. But I all of a sudden had a realization that when the internet for our household got really bad was when I said that I was going to start, we're working on trying to fix up the Unfuckers Unite website so I could get everyone moved off of Facebook, get everyone moved over into the private site where we don't have to deal with all the Facebook bullshittery, etc., etc., etc. Since that point, our internet has gotten so bad that in the evenings, it's not even about supporting a video call. I can't even get a website to load. I can't work on my website. I got up this morning and rebooted the router, rebooted my computer, rebooted everything. And you can still see, no one else is on the internet in my house right now. I am the only person on the internet. I have everything closed on my desktop that uses even the tiniest smidge of internet. Since the moment I said that that's what I was trying to get done, it's like our internet is just plummeted. Shockingly so. And I'm talking about to other people. Now, Amina, okay, you said so they can roll out the 5G. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. There is 5G that's rolled out. Places like London, places like Birmingham have now got 5G. And I've talked to people in those places, and their internet is just as fucking bad. It's just as fucking bad. So if they are going to try and push this, if they're trying to use this, like we'll slow down the 3G and 4G to force people screaming that they'll want the 5G, the problem is the people that have the 5G are going to be like, yeah, where's our fucking nice speedy internet that you promised us? Because it ain't fucking happening. It's not fucking happening. Yeah, now, okay,
So basically,
here's the thing. Hold on. So green ozone. So you're talking about the internet load badgered online schooling. Yes, except that and that would make sense. But mine is in the evening. Why is it every evening that it just, as soon as we hit 5 o'clock, it's like a timer. I hit 5 p.m., you might as well forget about getting anything done on the computer after that.
So basically, what you're saying, Danny, is you need fast internet speeds so you can access Facebook and keep everyone safe. Wink.
Wink.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like,
I need better internet so I can keep everyone on Facebook. Yeah. Sorry, that nervous twitch.
I've got the same problem. What was your internet like, say, Thursday, Friday, Saturday? Because I don't want to stray from the conversation yet, but with we had an energy burst from space. It seems.
It was bad. And since then, here's my thing, Monty, it had gotten a little better. And by saying a little better, I'm kind of like being optimistic by wording it that way. It had been a little better until that event. Okay? And then all of a sudden, and it's not come back. We have got something serious going on. Now, before we started recording, we were talking about radiation. And Christy was talking about having eaten, she had a huge pile of lemon balm. And how the next day, her joints felt so much better. And then she remembered that lemon balm is one of the herbs that they recommend for cleaning up from nuclear stuff. So, for example, people who are nuclear technicians, etc., are told to drink lemon balm tea every day to help get rid of the radiation in their bodies, right? Which brings a lot of shit up. So we've been talking in my gardening group, right? That gardening group I made specifically to talk about the weird fucking shit that's going on in botany with agricultural wise, whether we're talking about grand solar minimum and geomagnetic fields, etc. Now, the one thing that we've had is we've talked about radiation. And we've seen tons of pictures. People have posted the most wild pictures of like sunflower, with a sunflower growing out of the middle of the sunflower. Echinacea flowers that have an echinacea flower growing out of the center of the flower. Bizarre fused vegetables. And I picked this, and I'm going to left this out here to show you guys. This is a tomato off my vine. Now there's the top of the tomato. There's the back of the tomato. There are, yeah, there's 1, 2, at least 4 tomatoes fused together, and you can't really see it. That little green thing there, that is another tomato flower that never properly grew into a plant because everything grew around it. Okay? That is what I just pulled off my vine yesterday morning. Okay? I have seen now so many pictures. We have got a collection of warped tomato pictures going. Zucchinis that are fused together. All kinds of things that... Really, Gorf? Okay, that's crazy. Jane, do you think I fucking grow GMO anything? No, these are heritage heirloom seeds. That's all I grow.
What's coming from the sky though? Because that's been
Radiation.
mentioned in Melbourne. Like, well, yeah, that makes sense. Because I'm like, what episode of Doctor Who's that from? Because it almost looks like a Dalek.
Like, yeah, that's or something from Fringe. This looks like something that came out of the Fringe universe. You know, when the two universes collided, that's what that looks like. It was in the middle of the thing where two universes came together.
That's just your bubblegum collection.
Yeah, that's right.
That's all that it is.
That's what it is. This is the kind of stuff that we've been talking about in the gardening group. Now, like I said, I talked about this a few weeks ago where I was having the extreme leg pain, like leg pains in my long bones. It was so bad, it was almost debilitating back in early August. And because Anne sends me all kinds of homeopathics as we go through these different cycles of trying to figure shit out. And I had rad bromide that she sent me, which is a radiation homeopathic, right? And I took one of those, and I woke up the next day, and all the pain was gone. And I was like, okay, something to think about. Now, we have someone like Christy who's talking about eats all this bloody lemon balm and wakes up the next day, and her joints all of a sudden felt so much better. Again, lemon balm has got a lot of things that it does. A lemon balm is one of those amazing herbs that everyone should bloody grow. They've done huge studies on treating Alzheimer's patients with lemon balm. Patients who have got cognitive dysfunction treated with lemon balm tea have a huge increase in abilities. Like things get much, much better. But we have these kind of things. Oh, okay, so Peg just said one of the small town newspapers is asking for people to send photos of their Siamese twin flowers and veggies. So it's that common. And this is as I'm saying. In one of my gardening groups here in England, someone just posted something yesterday and posted the photos. In shock, her apple tree just blossomed. It's September in England, and her apple tree just is full of apple blossoms again. Never even had apples. Her spring garlic that was supposed to come up in the spring, suddenly she thought it just died, just suddenly came up out of nowhere. She's got spring garlic coming up everywhere. So
I saw an article headline. Sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Canadian talking about food. For a while there was no wheat or anything in Canada, and in 3 days it came back.
Explain to me exactly. I posted this up because I put a warning out. This article came by, and it was in July of this summer. Big news article saying Alberta has been just slammed. The weather has destroyed the wheat fields. There is no wheat. That between hail and floods, there is no wheat. It's devastating. Oh my God! I posted the article on my Facebook and everywhere on PocketNet, on everywhere, and was like, Canadians, you better go out and get yourself at least 10 kilos of flour now, because if this is the state that we're looking at, you're going to see the prices are going to skyrocket. Time to put your stores of wheat in. And I know a bunch of people who did. And then 2 weeks ago, it was the last week of August, like late August 27th, 28th, the whole news comes out. Canada's got the largest crop of wheat they've ever had in history. Wait, so between July and the end of August, all of a sudden we've gone from devastating floods and hail in Alberta that has destroyed the wheat fields to now the highest crops. Now, I had someone post on, that's not someone I know, I had someone post on that post when I reposted it out and put a comment saying, oh, well, I work for the something to do with wheat in Canada. And it's true that that Alberta's fields got a bunch of fields got very, very badly devastated, but the crops were really good everywhere else. Wait. So you're telling me Alberta, which is this big province that pretty much grows nothing but fucking wheat and oil, but wheat, you take all their wheat, you take all the devastated wheat away, but the wheat growth was so good everywhere else that it made up for the destroyed fields in Alberta? Really? No, I'm not buying that. Sorry, I'm not buying that. Amina, so here's the thing. Because Amina just said, do y'all think that the Zeta Talk pole shift scenario might be a real thing? My feeling on this is that I've always felt that there's something physical. There's something obvious. There is obviously something physical going on. Obviously. Only a stupid person with the brain capacity of a one-cell amoeba is going to say everything is hunky-dory and nothing has changed over the last couple of years. We know global warming, i.e. man-made CO2 global warming, is all bullshit. We know that. But it is very obvious that everything is shifting. So we were talking about before we started recording, I can't remember, Mercedes, if I was recording at this point. We were talking about chocolate and using chocolate as a commodity instead of gold, right? And we're joking about that. And Mercedes was saying, the fact that, and I remember this, about a year or so ago, you couldn't get the really high dense, like that 85, 90%, 95% cocoa chocolate. It just seemed to vanish. And they said then it was like, oh, well, that because of all the climate change, there was a problem with the production that year. These are the kinds of things we're seeing everywhere, right? So same thing. England has just been hit with the worst weather. There, same thing. The wheat has dropped, plummeted the wheat yields in England. So we know this shit is going on. We know there are these changes. Is it a pole shift? Well, the South Atlantic anomaly just split into two defined poles, which is insane, crazy insane. We know all the certain aspects to that are definitely factual, and we know the North Pole is moving really, really fucking fast right now. Magnetic north, I clarify, magnetic north. There are those people who say that once it reaches a certain point, degrees, that the poles will flip. And one of the guys I'm friends with who does a lot of stuff on this, his name is Mark Elkin. And he says he's looking at all the numbers. He says when we hit 40 degrees of shift, that's when the poles will flip. And he's saying, kids, looking at the graphs now of tracking everything that's been going on, that basically if things continue as it's been continuing, he's saying in 2023 the poles are going to flip. I don't know. Not a scientist. These are all pieces that I take on, though. Like things, you got to leave them on the table. We can't take them off the table. Shit is really, really weird. The sun has been really weird. Today is the first day we've got sun today. Today is the first day in about 3 weeks that when I walked out into the sun, it felt normal. It felt normal again. It like the sun was lovely. It felt warm. It was nice. It was soothing. It wasn't walk out into the sun and feel like you're being fried from the inside out. That's what it was like. Even though we had very little sunshine in August, every time the sun came out, it didn't matter if it was just peeked out from between the clouds, it felt terrible. Like it burned you. Like you could feel your skin frying. Today's the first day that I walked out in the sun and was like, oh, this is actually nice. Like I could actually sit in the sun with a book and enjoy just sitting back, if I had time, sitting back and reading. It's crazy, crazy stuff. And the weather stuff is crazy. Go ahead, hon.
Here in Melbourne, we're known for our weather, like 4 seasons in one day.
Yeah.
But it's changed now to 1 season per day type deal. We snow, so it's really bad. And it's why I want to move to Queensland. I wanted to move before all this restriction crap. I wore shorts yesterday, which is, it's like wearing shorts on the 1st of March.
Yeah, like it's still winter there. It's still winter. Like
we're
it's
up
not
to 20 degrees.
Really. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was last week or the week before, we had a lot of winds here as well, which it's strange that it's not totally global, but certain spaces have similar type weather at the same time. It's like, I don't know if it's chakra points or ley lines or something, but it was really windy here for about a week. And it was windy at other places in the Northern Hemisphere at the same time.
Yep.
It's Melbourne weather is usually chaotic anyway, but because I've been here for 4.5 decades, it's changed and it's still chaotic. But it's warmer now. Like I think Sunday was like 20, and then last night was supposed to go down to 4. Like it changed seasons from the warm to the cold season in 48 hours.
And same for us here in Idaho. I mean, same exact thing. Like super cold, super hot, super cold. We had a freak windstorm the other day. Like it's all over the place.
Yep.
Yeah, it's almost like the Matrix is glitching.
Well, and that's what I keep coming back to. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you just sit there and go like, the Matrix is just literally falling apart. It's crazy, crazy. And I take the piss out of the weathermen all the time because they're always wrong. And I always joke, but the only profession you can have where you can be wrong 99% of the time and still get a paycheck. And we've got this situation where literally it's like Nick was laughing this morning. I got up, we're sitting out having a coffee. I'm sitting there we've got like a gazebo covering. I'm sitting there and I look out and I'm like, is it raining? And Nick totally straight pan is like, nope, there's 0% chance of rain today. That's what it says on the BBC, 0% chance of rain while we're sitting there in the rain. But that's how, like, the weather is all over the place. None of the current models work. None of the current models work because everything's changed. So when you talk about the jet streams changing, etc., now we've got dealing with the plasma stuff, and I keep bringing this up too. We have all the fires again, and that are going on in California and places like Albania last month, etc. Massive fires. And again, there's this real push for people to talk about DEW weapons, but no one wants to talk about the fact of like all these fires are taking place on fault lines.
There's
there's massive plasma bursts coming out.
Ooh, I wonder if there's a connection. One of the guests that I have on a roundtable, he lives in Northern California and he has a small farm. He's surrounded by fires. He hasn't gone outside for 3 days because of the haze and the smoke and everything else like that. Yeah, and what freaked me out was, he said Celsius, so that freaked me out. But yesterday was 41 degrees Celsius in Northern California, while there's all the bushfires. And it's, I think the Northern California is roughly similar from the equator. That's why eucalyptus trees can grow in California and stuff like that. But yeah, 41 degrees, and I think that's over 100 Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Oh, well over. And this is I'm hearing from people in the States all over the place. It's either there seem to be extremes. It's either they're having extreme heat, or the flip opposite of that, extreme cold, rainy, wet nastiness. And it doesn't seem, it's almost patternless. I'm sure there is a pattern, but to those as the uneducated person looking at it, you can't tell why, what the hell. Go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
No, in some cases, both. Like, if you look at the weather for the state of Colorado, it is like fire, 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 snow, ice, like ice storm, snowstorm, extreme heat, like seriously, like all mixed in. It is unreal.
Yeah, that's Melbourne weather. Yesterday, I was talking to my mum. Like, I was wearing shorts, and she's like, "Oh, did you think it was hot today?" And it was in the morning. And then the rain clouds came over. It rained and got really cold, and it's like, oh, I'm freezing. It's, I don't know. Is God testing us to, are we
endurance
going to
levels?
5D, getting out of the 3D? Like, yeah, it's like, well, you can have extreme heat and extreme cold at the same time.
And your prize behind door number 1 is. Go ahead, Earl.
I always maintain the first thing that happens when you go into 5D is you're handed a 6D bus pass. Go ahead, Earl.
I was going to say, because we're getting all this radiation, how come I haven't got my superpowers yet?
Yeah. We're going to get all this radiation. I'd like to have the ability to turn invisible or fly, or I don't know.
Well, to make my cat happy, I want to control the weather. Because she keeps coming in yelling at me. It's like, it's sky water. I don't control the weather
Don't control the sky water. I know you think I'm God, but something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we went out literally last week. We were sitting out at the pub. And I swear that if anyone had taken a video, it would have been hysterical. Because it was cloudy and sunny. And when the clouds came over the sun, the temperature dropped at what felt like 10 degrees instantly. Boom. And you'd put on your hoodie. And you'd have your hoodie on for 2 minutes. And then the sun would come out and you'd have to take the hoodie off again and sit in your t-shirt. And then the cloud would go. And it was like a continuous, put jacket on, jacket off, jacket on, jacket off. It was ridiculous, but that's what I'm saying. Like, the weather is really, really strange. Now, I want to talk about some of the physical stuff for us. I get a lot of comments in the YouTube comments. I get a lot of messages on Messenger, emails, etc. from people who say things like, I'm so appreciate the stuff that you talk about because it makes me feel like I'm not losing my mind. That there are other people out there that are going through this. So it's not just me. I'm not going crazy. There's other stuff going on. This last week has been, again, another epic level of crazy insanity. From the physical, the emotional, the mental, the consciousness, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, every level. I have heard people, the things that people have messaged me about, the extreme headaches. I had one yesterday? Day before yesterday. I had a migraine that my entire head felt, even though I took some painkillers that helped, took the pain of the migraine away, you still have all the other symptoms. Things like joint pain, in every joint, shoulders, knees, elbows. People I know who were bedridden for days this weekend, incapable of getting out of bed. The pain in their body, whether it was in their back, their hips, their legs, but not just that, the physical exhaustion, the feelings of physically being, I just can't get up. I can't do anything. My body is exhausted. On the mental level, that also, like, I use the word lethargy, but it's not it. It's not. It's drained of even the will to do anything. Not just being incapable of it mentally, like being so, your brain being so fuzzy that you just, and you can't think. It's like that extreme exhaustion that you get when your brain just stops operating. But the will, even the will to do things was, it was gone. It was like as if, and I was saying to this buddy of mine this morning, I said, it was like someone pulled the plug and drained every ounce of energy out of my batteries. Every ounce of energy out of my batteries just went poof. Emotionally drained. I heard from everyone, from people my age, teenagers, children, all ages, extreme sadness, depression, despondency. Despondency was a real big one. Like, I got a lot of messages from people saying, I don't, and I will clarify this, it's like not suicidal, but those messages that come from that place of despondency of like, I don't know what to do anymore. I just can't, this is just, it's so much, it's so overwhelming. I can't get anything done. I'm so despondent. This has been an overwhelming all weekend, and it started like not just the weekend. It started like late last week, Thursday, Friday. I was better today, yesterday better, but I had about 4 days where I was virtually incapable of getting anything accomplished. I literally cooked. I literally was, this is what I did all weekend. It was the only thing I could manage to do was just sit there and do canning and make jams and jellies and stuff, because it was something I could mentally follow my own directions, physically stand there and do, but I didn't have to think. I didn't have to reason. I didn't have to use any kind of emotional intelligence, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It was
like, for me, I would add to that. I find it difficult to plan. That's how deep it gets to.
You
like,
can't.
I can't do things. But now it's like, I don't know if it's a safety mechanism of like, don't plan today. Just let the day unfold.
Yep.
And the last couple of days, I've woken up tired, like someone sat on me. But the weird thing is, the Thursday, Friday, which was that the Schumann resonance measuring stations went sort of a bit dark or weird.
Weird. If you guys haven't seen the Schumann, I'll put screenshots. I will put screenshots with the article that goes with this. Oh, I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah. During that time, I felt like a low point, and because I've made a choice of like, I'm a Gen Xer and I lived through the 90s, so I don't want to feel down anymore. And so I've made a choice of, I don't like to feel like this. And so when like, no, I don't, I made that choice. But I felt that low edge, and like in the last 3-4 months, it's a yo-yo effect where I've noticed I go up, and then when I go up again, it's like, oh, hey, it's not delirious euphoria, but it's like, this is a better place.
But no, it is. It's your energy just comes up, and you're like, you're with it. Like you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this today. I'm get that done. That's awesome.
But that's the new normal, like the balance point between extreme happy and extreme sad. Like you go into the sad, and then your average point is higher up into happy, if I can say it that way.
Well, it's interesting because look, I talked about this with my buddy today too, and he said it seems to him, and I agree, that for when you have those moments of up, where your energy is really up, if you want to say, I hate to use the terminology, when your frequency is really up and you're just in that place where things are good, you're moving forward, you're getting shit done, you're happy, you feel good. You go to sleep, and almost inevitably, the next day, you are down in the pits of fucking hell. It's like you get reset, like something resets you in the middle of the night while you're sleeping. It's like, no, we can't have you all happy and nice like that. No. Boom, boom. And it's the next day, it's just, that's the energy's gone. And you have to remind yourself. I was joking that with him, saying, almost need to start making notes to myself, like when I'm in a really up day, what my thoughts are, like what I'm thinking, what I'm planning, so that on the next day, if you are down in one of those pits of hell, you can look at your notes and remind yourself where you were the day before. And that maybe if you can tune into those thoughts that you had the day before, you might be able to pick yourself up by the bootstraps and be like, okay, this is where I was yesterday. This is what I was thinking about. So let's put ourselves back in that place, and can we reset our energy to that channel, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. It's like, well, yeah, it's like that happy spot is when you feel cool, you know, when you feel like Fonzie. It's that level of coolness. And then the downswing is an artificial worthlessness from my perspective anyway, because like I feel down and worthless. Why? Like, why am I? And I think we mentioned in the last show, is learning to catch that, where it's like, are you? No, I'm not. But I'm still feeling this. So
exactly.
Questions are asked.
This is it. I had this conversation with my kids this weekend, because 3 of my 4 kids were just completely down in the dumps. They were having really low moments. And my one little dude who's 13, he was going, I could see it. Like, I can see it in his energy. I can see it in his face. I can feel it coming off of him. I was like, what's wrong? He was like, I don't know. I said, okay, let's sit down and discuss this. How are you feeling? And he was like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I just feel bad. I feel really bad. And so we went through a discussion of like, okay, do you feel angry? Do you feel sad? Do you feel... And we went through it, and then we talked about them, and we looked at, you feel sad. Okay, why are you sad? Can you come up? Do you know why you're sad? Can you come up with anything that has happened today, yesterday, whatever, that would make you feel sad? Not a sad movie, a sad book, something. And the answer for all of my kids when we went through the whole thing was no, and it's external. It's the same with me. I was so sad. Saturday, Sunday, I was so sad. Deeply, deeply, that, like you say, the lowest levels of just, I feel like shit. I feel like I'm worthless, like you were just saying. Sad. And then you look at it, you take it out and you look at it and you go, is there anything there? Is
this authentic?
Is this authentic? Is this me? Is this me?
It's not an authentic,
No,
yeah,
and it's
not
not
an authentic low point.
No, it's not, because you can sit there and you can go, okay, sometimes we make up shit. Like, I had a complete fucking tizzy. I was making dinner on Saturday and something didn't go well. I can't even remember what it was now. And I literally almost started throwing plates. Pardon me as I choked to death. I went from 0 to 100 in about 4 seconds flat. I was so angry, so frustrated. I was literally ready to start smashing plates. I was that angry. And I said to Nick, I'm so... And then I was like, okay, what went wrong? Okay, so it was like the roast didn't come out quite the way I wanted it to. Was that really an excuse to want to start smashing plates? No, obviously not. Obviously, you're putting your emotional state onto that event. When you look at the event, you go, well, obviously that was not causing the emotional state that was going on. It's the other way around. And that's where I just keep talking to anyone. I met up with some really, really lovely UnFucker on Friday. and with her kids, and we went for a great hike and went foraging and did some stuff. And I talked about this, and I was like, you know, we just got to get to that place, and we just ask ourselves, when we get in, catch yourself, when you start going down to that dark place, catch yourself and ask, like, honestly ask yourself, is this really me, or is this something external that is coming at me, that is being put on me for whatever reason? I'm not saying it's someone doing it to you, etc. For whatever the reason is it internal or external? And it helps that little bit. It's hard when you're in that dark place, but it helps a little bit if you can logically get to the place of knowing this is not me. This is not coming from within me. This
Actually,
is
have a bit on
something
this.
that will pass. Go ahead, Aaron.
So this is just kind of my theory. It has kind of, it just really kind of makes sense. So anybody who is an empath and knows they're an empath knows that to ask this question like on a daily basis.
Yep.
Like it's not new for those people.
Yep.
What I've noticed is that effect has gotten stronger, even for me as an empath, but also for people that don't identify as being an empath, people that don't have to normally think about that, people that don't normally absorb others' emotions or the emotions of the collective. And and I've felt this for a long time now, but I sort of believe that, I mean, as these planetary changes are happening, and you know, we're obviously all connected electromagnetically and in all sorts of other ways, but it has been my suspicion that we're turning on empathetically or emotionally, becoming more connected in those ways, whether we like it or not.
Whether you want to go there, you're kicking and screaming, you are going there. Yeah. Well, this is the thing, right? We can hypothesize.
See what you think of this idea.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead,
it's a short
Monty.
idea. I just want to share, like, you know, when you're feeling low, question it, and that it will help you out. If you want to have some fun, not question your high point, but ask by remembering that feeling of high, like, I'm feeling cool, I can do stuff. Oh, I wonder what, you know, it's the opposite. It's not like, why is it, what, you know, you're not questioning why you're happy, but I'm going to try and do it over the next week so like, if I'm having a high point, try and remember, okay, well, why is this? Try and see the other end of the spectrum. And by observing whatever the answer is, it'll be a better way to reach that state again.
And that's why I was kind of talking about, like, I mean, joking, not joking, taking notes, like literally keeping a diary of, like, when you have those high points, when you're sitting there, what are the thoughts that you're thinking? Because that sometimes is a really good indicator. And I can get up in the morning and I can immediately, like, you know, your brain goes off, you're sitting there having your coffee and your smoke and and your brain goes off. And this morning I got up and I literally could feel the negative, that the thoughts that were rolling through my head were very negatively focused on all these different things that were happening, the lockdowns, all these things that financially are happening, all these things that are geopolitically happening. And I literally stopped and was just like, whoa, we are not starting today like this. I've got stuff I want to do today, and I am not playing this game. And it was like, nope, reset. And so, for example, I've got a piece of music. Music is a big one for me. And I go through stages of music where one certain piece, and I will listen to the same song over and over and over and over and over again. And then another one will come along. So I've got a piece of mine that just literally this weekend, someone posted a piece that reminded me of this piece. I went to go look at it, and it's the Allegri Miserere, which is an astounding piece of choral music. If you guys know the Miserere, is incredible, by Gregory Allegri. And I found a recording of it. a specific recording of it that is just the energy, everything so incredible. And I've been listening to that piece over and over. Downloaded it onto my computer, so even when I don't have internet, and I can set myself, it's almost like my mental reset when I get to a place, if I'm in a place that is very low energy, that if I can take a piece of music, put it on, I can reset myself so that I feel better. And everyone's got their own thing. Everyone's got their own piece. For me, it's vocal. Vocal energy is really, really huge. So it's the vocal work that really gets me. It's not the melody. It's not. It's the vocal energy that comes through by the performers. It resets me. That I don't know how to say it any differently. And it's the same thing. And I will go and I will probably listen to this one piece of music now, and I'll include the video with the article below so everyone will know what I'm talking about. Everyone will have their own things, but if you can find it, if you can just find your reset point, something that will help you, something, whether it's a piece of music, whether it's a meditation, whether it doesn't matter, just find it. Say that again, Aaron. I couldn't hear you, love.
Weird Al Yankovic Foil, which is a parody of Royal, and the second half of it goes from a cooking show to InfoWars. And like it's 4 years old, but if you watch the second half of it now, it's like it's a documentary. And I only have to listen to it once because I've listened to it over and over, like 40 times, and it's ingrained in my head. But I watched it and like, oh yeah, fair enough, cool, yeah. And I shared it. I think I actually shared it on the UnFuckers page because I thought for people like us, it's a good reminder of like, yeah, like I even shared stuff. Oh yeah, it's Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, and the director sitting next to him, and the memes actually, you know, I've been screaming about this stuff for 10 years in my own echo chamber, and then you've got the director being very animated, and it's like Facebook users that have taken who are yelling about this, taking their first red pill, and that's my lesson for my ego. It's like, really, you're talking about this now? We've been doing this for over a decade. And we still don't get any recognition.
And you still call us conspiracy theorists. That's right. We're just mad.
So,
go ahead, Aaron.
About that music, that is a very, very, very good suggestion. And kind of like I said before, you weren't an empath before, you are now. So welcome to the club. We're all empaths now. But one thing that really helps, like especially for empaths, like songs, and just how like you can absorb energy from the collective, you can absorb energies of the songs, and like they can literally reprogram you.
Yes.
In a super crazy way. And so like just like that little box of homeopathy oils, I have a little box playlist.
Yep.
Of
Same
my
with me.
favorite tinctures, my favorite things that I know will get me to different states. And if you don't already have a playlist like this,
find your music.
You need to make one.
And now that's not going to work for everyone. I'm a musician, so that works for me because I'm a musician. I literally, since I've mentioned it, I've got the song is now, the Miserere is literally playing in my head while I'm talking to you right now on full volume. When you get a song, for me, if I get a song that does it, I can absorb the song so that I can play it, and I can play it in its, I can play it in totality in my head, and the energy that I get from it when I listen to it, when I play it in my head, I can generate that same, it generates that same energy, so it brings me back up again. That, I have no words. I hope I've explained that even. Kind of like self-hypnosis. I think you could call it as a form of self-hypnosis. Right? Bring yourself back to that level by playing something that brings you to that level.
Metalhead, so I can listen to Sepultura and relax, or Lamb of God, and that's not for everybody, but you know, it's detuned D, and it's thrash metal, and
I can do the same thing. In our house, it's not just choral music and opera, although that has been my go-to for the last couple of months. There's been a lot of opera and choral music. But at the same time, when Nick and I are in the kitchen doing stuff, it's Tool, it's
Mhm.
Metallica, it's like doesn't matter. It's the energy from the song can bring it through to you.
That latest Tool, I'm going to listen to the latest Tool album again because like there's a lot of stuff about infections and disease, and like Maynard obviously tapped into something when he was writing
Oh
lyrics
yeah, he always does though. That's why I love Maynard so much.
again. It's like, how did he know? Yeah, like Lyraris is basically soft disclosure for spirituality.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone should listen to Tool. I mean, unless you're not into that, obviously. I know a lot of friends of mine are like, I love the lyrics, but I can't actually listen to it. It does my head in.
Well, just read the lyrics. The lyrics are
Just
just
read the
intense
lyrics.
enough anyway. There's a. Have you heard of a sub? There's 48 different. Well, there's probably more now, but there was 48 subgenres of metal. There's one called melodic death metal, and there's a band from Eastern Europe called Scar Symmetry, and they talk about the Illuminati and spirituality and everything else. So there's deep growls, but they're talking about reptilians. It's quite fun.
I've been into Disturbed right now. Like,
Yeah.
some of their songs are really speaking about what's going on right now, and it's like, holy crap! Like, and I never thought Disturbed would be a band that I would go to,
Well,
for
it's
anything really. It's
yeah.
like,
Well, listen, Disturbed's version of Sound of Silence is one of my most ultimate favorite songs now, and it's on my auto playlist. It comes, I can listen to that multiple times a day and never get tired of it. Because now that's not a feel-good song, as in,
And
that's more like a bring up your energy to like it's almost time for the revolution now. Speaking like Muse, Revolution, a great song, right? It puts you in that mood of like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking tear down everything.
Well, Jimmy in chat just shared a Canadian artist called Devin Townsend. He's from Vancouver. His latest album is called Empath.
Oh, really?
and it's like it's like a retrospective of his career because he started out in his industrial metal band. He's released a space country album. He does everything in between. He grew up with show tunes and musicals, and so Empath is basically the whole album is everything. And so in one song, he can go from brutal blast beats to a choir. So it may not be everyone's cup of tea. However, it's he seems to be sort of just producing this stuff where it connects because it's so broad.
Just to throw another bone out there, like if you want to get scientific about all this,
Yeah.
they have done studies how certain songs can like physically affect your brain chemistry, affect you physiologically. They did a study on the song Weightless by Marconi Union that has shown in scientific studies to reduce blood pressure and to relax your brain and to better than a lot of medications do.
Yep. Well, this is it.
Statistically significant level.
Yeah. This is, for example, one of the singers who I've just completely fallen in love with is a Spanish woman named Cristina Ramos. Now, anyone in the States will probably know her. She was on America's Got Talent, The Champions, back 2019, I think. She's got this outstanding voice, and it's not just the melodic quality, and I've talked about this before. It's the energy that she puts out when you can feel it. You can feel the energy, and you can feel the energy of the audience. So, and it's like, so I've got downloaded all of her because she's done multiple. She won The Voice for Mexico 2019 or 2019, I think, and she won Spain's Got Talent. So she's done quite a few of these guys. She went to the World's Got Talent in China in 2020, I think. But there's something about those auditions because you're not only just getting her energy of the voice and how incredible it is, you are getting, or at least I find, I'm getting the energy of the audience because the audience response to her voice is so like, you actually you feel it. You can actually feel it. And like I said, it's an amazing reset for me. I can take that and really reset my own emotional balance just by listening to the music that feeds me. And I don't mean to make it sound vampiric, but it does. It feeds you the frequency. You can take from that frequency and reshift your own frequency to go with it. Now, I'm sure it can also work on the opposite. Hence the fact if everyone talks about, when they're depressed and they've had a breakup and they listen to the same sad song over and over and over again, because it reflects back at them the sadness they're feeling, which is a negative cycle, right? Which that is then becomes a negative cycle that we need to break in a lot of ways.
I can never listen to Hootie and the Blowfish ever again because the housemate had a breakup and just wouldn't stop playing that bloody album over and over again.
Yeah, ruined forever. Ruined forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know how that goes. I want to talk on just really quickly. I haven't had a chance to take a look this morning because my internet's been shockingly bad. I'm a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little disappointed with all the viewers out there. I redid the prepping first aid kit again, the video. And a huge thank you, Aaron, for trying to help me out with that. And I could not get yours downloaded. I couldn't get it to be able to get it mixed. I finally was like, this is too much effort. I need to, obviously, it's like the universe is saying, you need to re-record this again. So I re-recorded it and I put it out. And there are very few views on it. So I don't know if YouTube's doing its usual fucking shit, as in no one got a notice that I'd put a new video out. So maybe that's part of it. Because we know that I've been getting a lot of stuff, messages from people on YouTube going, oh my God, I didn't get a notification and I should have. I didn't know you'd put a video out. But I redid the first aid kit video. People, this is important stuff. And again, I know a lot of people don't want to go to that place of prepping. There's a lot of people who are very, very resistant to talking about prepping because they're afraid. No one wants to face that idea that a situation could arise where you're going to need this knowledge. You're going to need these storage, whether it's food, whether it's first aid kits, whatever it looks like. It is really important, in my opinion, that people be prepared. And the fact that we are now looking at what's going on in the UK again, we're now up a level in this lockdown again. The next step after that, we could be right back into March all over again. In which case, do you have toilet paper on hand? Because God knows they could all disappear again. Bars of soap, fresh tomatoes, like you name it, all these things could just disappear again. Like I said, when I was out shopping last week, I noticed there was a lot of stuff still missing on the grocery shelves. Big blank holes on grocery shelves. And so even the same thing of an example, in my own kit, I usually always have rubbing alcohol because you can use it for everything, even just for cleaning stuff. Like I've always got a big bottle of rubbing alcohol. Went to 4 different stores, could not get rubbing alcohol. And when I was talking to the one guy who was stocking the shelves, I talked to the pharmacist, and there was a guy behind in the shop who was stocking the shelves, and he kind of said to me, he says, look, go order it online. He says, when all this shit it blew up in March, he said, all of a sudden, it's like people went insane and bought up every bottle of rubbing alcohol, every bottle of peroxide. I could not find peroxide or rubbing alcohol in any store. So these are little things, right? These are little notifications, if you will, of the way things are looking. Yes, Peg, I agree. Peg just said, deep down, I think many people don't want to prepare because they're expecting it, and expecting it makes it happen. There's that, if I think about this, if I prepare, then it will happen. No, that's not how it works, folks. It's not how it works, right? Certain person who shall remain nameless, back in 2015-16, made a comment to that genre, that energy of, no, because if you're going to start prepping, that's putting your energy towards it, and I know that my energy is going to make sure that none of that happens, etc., etc. And promptly 6 months later, there was a massive flood in the town where she lived, and she was not prepared, and she basically had to get up and flee to another friend's house who lived on higher ground and brought nothing with her, and expected that other family to look after her because she wasn't prepared. She had no preparations made, and it ended up being someone else who had to be prepared on her behalf. That is not fair. And unfortunately, there's far too many love and lighters out there who that is their way of looking at things. Oh, well, it won't happen to me. Well, lockdown proved that otherwise. So, oh yeah,
And
absolutely. Cheap vodka is just as good.
Even if it's not about love and light, even
Go
if
ahead,
it's not
Aaron.
about love and light, and it's more about, I said, like, even if it's not about love and light or not exposing your, like, even if it's just about anxiety, because I know sometimes, like, I don't know, like, I don't have very much means, I guess, to, like, just go out and buy a ton of prepping stuff. So I know sometimes for me, it, like, triggers this like, underlying anxiety that, like, oh, well, if I see the information, then I have to, like, do everything about it and be a prepper. And I think to say to yourself, like, hey, let's just look at the information. You don't even have to do anything. Let's just look.
You just have to look at it, yeah. And this is why, like, when I did the first aid video, I made sure I was the vast majority of the things that I showed, I bought from the dollar store. And I did that deliberately because there were specific things that I custom ordered. Like I said, there was like the colloidal dressings that were important for me as a medic to have in my kit because I know how good those dressings are for wounds. But the vast majority of the bandages, all the little bits and bobs that are in my kit came, even the sewing kits, even things like that, came from a dollar store. It doesn't have to be expensive. Now I've got, I don't even think my camera thing would extend long enough to show you. Let me see, I don't know if it'll work. No, it's not. I can't even get, the cord is so tangled up, I can't even lift my camera up. This where I'm sitting, where my desk is a freestanding island in my kitchen. Underneath this island, I have 4 full boxes and 1 half-full box of food that are packed up. And it's a mixture of canned goods, things like cooking oil, flour, rice, baking powder, dried lentils and beans, peas, etc., all that kind of stuff. I'm dead broke. We went out and did grocery shopping yesterday, and we had a real skinny budget to work on yesterday for buying groceries. And I still managed to pick up 3 extra cans of spaghetti sauce, of a tomato sauce that was on sale for like 35 cents a tin, or a jar. And I managed to pick up 2 or 3 more packages of pasta that was on sale for 29 cents. Even with a very limited budget, I was still able to put another few more things into my prepper food storage. It was only a little bit, but it was a little bit more than what I had last week. Same thing with the bandages. When I was sitting there going through the dollar store, it was like I didn't go into the dollar store and spend 100 quid on fucking first aid shit. I went in March and I bought a few things, and I went in April and I bought a few more things, and I bought in May and I bought a few more things. It was like an extra 5-6 quid each trip in makes a difference, right? Okay, so Panda, right? I found one of the dollar stores near us had espresso coffee, the freeze-dried packs, the proper hard vacuum packs, on for $1. And I went in, and over the course of 3 weeks, I bought about 15 packs. Because even if I don't use that in a prepper situation, I got them for a fucking $1. And the other espresso that I buy regularly is $3.95. So I just saved £3 for every pack that I bought. So even if it's like now 6 of those packs are packed away in a box, the rest are up in my cupboard. I'm just trying to.
And I feel like even backing it further, like if your anxiety gets triggered by this, at least just be like, you know what? At least be exposed to the information. Because if something were to happen, then I would know what to grab from the dollar store, what to grab if I just had to, and it would be efficient.
Exactly.
Well, going back to the whole thing about if I prep for it, if I prep for it, it's going to happen. That's taking the whole manifestation theory out of whack completely.
Yeah.
Because if you do something, then something will happen. We'd all be rich if you follow my meaning, because it's not that easy.
Yes, yes.
And
because
also,
I've been manifesting a lotto ticket. It's not working.
Yeah, well, no, I'm sure you have bought a lotto ticket, so therefore you manifested
Also,
it. It wasn't a winning one.
It wasn't a winning
but also,
lotto ticket.
if you're against prepping, you prep each week. You go every week. You go to the grocery store. You're prepping because you're buying a week's worth of food. So that's that's not how manifesting.
Idea.
I feel like Han Solo from The Force Awakens. That's not how manifesting works.
That's not how manifesting works. Sorry, say that again, Aaron.
That's how that works. Then everyone would be with porn stars if that's how that works.
It doesn't work that way. No, and it doesn't work that way. Thank you, because you know what? Listen, Monty, that's a really good point. That's a really good point to bring up. Hold on, we've got a couple of people who are unmuted, and I'm just trying to.
Yeah, that was a great echo.
There was some serious echoes going on there. Okay, got it. Okay. So yeah, my only point is knowledge is key. Knowledge is key in any situation. The more you know, the less fearful you will be of the situation, because you will have a certain level of confidence that you can handle any of those situations. And one of those pieces is even knowing, like you said, in the video I talk about the vast majority of people, I'm talking general public, when I've asked them things like about first aid, they've got like, a box of plasters, a box of Band-Aids, and maybe a bottle of peroxide and a packet of Tylenol. And that's it. That's what they call first aid. They haven't, and it's because they haven't thought about it, right? Like they don't know what they don't know. And that's one of the things that why I've been talking about this prepping stuff is I want people to be aware of things that you could need. And like I said, when I did the report, I really kind of tried to lay it out. This is what you absolutely must have. This is what you should have. This is what you could have. You may want to think about this. And this is extra. This is like stuff that someone like myself has, but it's not necessarily something you need to have.
It's sort of like if you had 2 hours to go get everything you needed, would you be able to get what you needed?
Yes, exactly. Would you?
Yeah, when I share about like buying food.
Hold on a second, Monty. Hold on a second. Yeah, Anna, go ahead.
I was a prep back in 2011 and 12. I started prepping. I had 6 months of long-term storable food. I had water filters and purifiers. I had everything. So, I would be ready. Well, then Hurricane frickin' Harvey came along and flooded my house with nasty water 5 feet deep for 6 frickin' days and just did away with even though it was long-term storable, sitting in that nasty water, they started coming in sealed. It was like you couldn't eat any of it. So I've been kind of resistant to prepping since then. I have pasta and rice and beans and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it was like, oh my God, I was so ready, and look what happened.
Yep, and in some cases,
no good at all.
And in some cases, that's part of prepping, is how do you deal with that situation? So for example, like I just said, most of my food is in cardboard boxes on the floor. If we had a flood, that's going to be a big problem. So in like there's that prep part of that for me is the fact of like, okay, in my head, it's like if it ever came to a flood situation, it would be like those boxes, it all get hauled upstairs to the second floor, or if we're leaving, obviously they'd be coming with us because we're getting the fuck out of Dodge, you'd fucking take it with you. But that's part of being like the mental state of being prepared, because I know you're not the only one, Anna. I know a lot of people who have had situations like that. One person I know who sat there and they had a dugout. They had a cold cellar dugout. Well, then it got flooded and the whole thing collapsed. And all their jars and jars of home stuff that they put together smashed. This is part of that, of being prepared, of the awareness of like, well, what do you do in a situation like that? Or how do you alleviate a situation like that? It's hard. It's really, really difficult. It's not an easy answer.
Especially when you're in the midst of the flood right then and trying to think of everything.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like some of that stuff that comes into play is what you just said, Aaron. You've got 2 hours notice. Let's say the government is about to go full on fucking lockdown. Everyone's got to go in their house and you've got till 6 o'clock tonight to get everything that you could possibly need for the next week. Can you do that? No, the average person can't, because they haven't thought about it in advance. They haven't thought about, well, what would I need? What would I even go out and grab? Oh my God, like, 8 boxes of macaroni and cheese is really going to be not your best choice on the overall scheme of things. But if your brain goes, oh my God, okay, I'll grab 8 boxes of this and 4 bags of that and quick run. But that's the preparation. Like that's, if you are aware, well, like Aaron said, if you've got 2 hours, do you know what to go grab? If you've got 2 hours to make absolute final, you've got 2 hours to be out of your house. Do you know what to grab? And that's why I said in the video, and I'll say it again. I'll say it again here because it's that important to me. Do you know where all your important documents are right now? Everyone here right now. Can you put your hands on your important documents right now?
Almost. They're just
Do you?
there.
Anyone? Yeah, we've got yeses. We've got lots and lots of yeses. Awesome. The average person, now not just, we think about things like driver's license, maybe passport if you travel, or your ID cards type thing. But what about things like birth certificates, marriage license, social insurance cards, things like that? Do you know where they are? Right here, right now? Do you know where? Can you layer? You got 5 minutes to get out of the house because of a storm, a fire, a flood. Can you put your hands on these documents and be out of the house with everything you need for 5 minutes? Most people know. Okay. One of the other things that I talked about is, where are they gone to now? That's silly. I've got all my shit still out here. Oh, there goes the first aid kit. Okay, now I see here I am. This is called being caught out in your own fucking trap, because they should be sitting right here with them, and I think I just put them away. If you have a pet and they're microchipped, do you know what your pet's microchip number is? Do you have it written down somewhere safe? So if you get separated from your dog or your cat, do you know what the microchip number is that they have? So if they get found by someone and they get scanned, can you, off the top of your head, sit there or have the number written down where you know what their chip number is? 90% of dog owners that I'd never even thought about it. Never even occurred to me until we got the doggy passports, which is what I'm looking for, which are down here on the floor somewhere that fell. The doggy passports that the dogs get in the EU, they get their own passport here. When the vet wrote in the chip number, I was like, oh, I never would have thought of that. But that's a piece of ID for your pet that you need to know, right? So these are some of those things, like some little things like that are important in my opinion, because we are having freakish weather all over the planet. Don't even look at the other insane, like don't even look at it from that the poles are going to shift and there's going to be a 3-mile high tsunami and there's going to be a solar storm of a Carrington event. Never mind that stuff. Just the little things. Sorry to say, little things. Massive forest fires, floods, earthquakes. There was a 3.9 earthquake in the city of London this morning. I ain't never heard of that before. That was kind of crazy. If you're prepared and you need to get out of the house fast, if you know you're prepared, then it makes it that much easier because you're calm, you're cool. You may be full of adrenaline, but in that adrenaline, you're still prepared. You're like, right, grab the ID, grab this, grab our backpacks, grab our change of clothes that we need, get the dogs, get the food, and out we go.
And like, even if all you do is watch that video once, you will be ahead of a lot of people.
Yep. Exactly. Okay.
Also, with the social side of things, what's happening in Melbourne, if we go with the whole New World Order trajectory idea, it looks like they're going to try, because once they see one government do it, they think, oh, that works, and they're going to spread it. It may not be exactly the same. I tell people,
Australia's
like,
the test
3 weeks
right
of
now.
Food, but what if nothing happens?
So you eat the food.
I've got 3 weeks worth of food.
Oh, you're breaking up really bad on my side, Monty.
Yeah, and you are here as well.
Yeah, could try that whole thing again. I've got 3 weeks worth of food.
3 weeks worth of food, and if nothing happens, you still have 3 weeks worth of food.
Exactly. So you eat it. My stuff, all the stuff that's on in the cases on my floor. About 6 months from now, I will swap that all out. That will all go up into cupboards. It'll all get used, and the new stuff, as it comes in, will get cycled down into storage. It's food doesn't go to waste, right? Like food doesn't have to go to waste. Just because you bought 10 kilos of flour doesn't mean that it's going to go to waste. You just use it. And for me, I buy my rice in between 5 and 10 kilo bags. And when we get halfway through a bag, I go buy 2 more bags. So I always have 2 on hand at all times. And now like for example, my rice, it's in a container on the floor, a sealed plastic container. I was looking at that the other day going, it's getting a little low. We're at about halfway point. Next grocery shopping, I'll go buy another 8 kilo bag. It'll be emptied into the container. And I always have 2 bags that are in storage, and they just get cycled through continuously. And that's normal. Like this is a piece that we've lost. If most of us were to talk to our grandparents who were alive in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, that was normal. That was the normal thing to do. Like they always had, both my grandmas always had at least 2 weeks of dry or canned food on hand. Always. You talk to my grandma, my English grandma, she went through World War II. Okay, can we get to stop the dogs from dancing? Can you just come open the door and put them outside, please? They're driving me nuts. She always
writing a novel.
Oh my God! Look, the nails on the floor.
Yeah.
Put the dogs outside. Oh my God! There they go. That'll be quieter now.
I'm thinking about tap dancing song. Give me your soft shoe.
You get a little soft shoe. No, that was more like tap dancing in high heels. My grandma always had 2 weeks worth of food. Always. And she always had like an extra cupboard. When she lived in her one little small apartment, my grandpa went and bought, when they kind of downsized, they moved into a small little 2-bedroom apartment, my grandpa went and bought a wardrobe for my grandma because the apartment did not have a pantry. So my grandmother had a wardrobe that was 6 foot tall, and grandpa put all the shelves in it, and it was fully fucking stocked all the time because she lived through World War II. And that stays with her forever. And I can remember this came one of the things that my grandma joking about. There was one day there was a blackout. I was just a child. I couldn't have been more than about 8 or 9 years old. And we lived in the same apartment building. And Grandma Dolly joking that they'd pulled a bunch of barbecues together and a bunch of camp. My parents had camp stoves, and my grandpa had a barbecue, and my dad had a barbecue, and we put them all out on the back. And my grandma just went to, and she started cooking for the whole fucking building. Because she had all this, like, it was like, right, we need baked beans for 42 people. Right, I've got about that enough cans. Pull them all out, and she fucking started. This is, yeah, I know there was spam in there too, Charlotte. I hate to admit there was spam in there too. Not so good. But that is something that we've lost. We've lost the ability, and it's one of the things. I actually had a conversation. We were over at the pub last night. Our pub next door. I made soup yesterday. I made chicken soup, which is proper soup. And the guy who runs the pub next door is a really good friend of ours now, Martin. He always jokes whenever I do kind of cooking, I'll bring over stuff to him because he never eats he'll be at the pub, for 12 hours and never eat properly. So I'll bring him over stuff. And the first time I brought him a bowl of soup, he was just like, well, you could see the look on his face of like, okay, well, I'm not really a soup. Oh, there's veggies in there. Oh. And he just scarfed it right back. He was, oh my God. It was like, that's because it's real soup. It didn't come out of a can or a package. It's actually real soup. I made soup yesterday, so I brought over a mug of soup for him and some fresh bread. And one of the other regulars was there, and she was joking, so she tried some of his soup. Was like, oh my God. So I went and got her a mug of soup too. And we got talking about it. And that's the thing. People don't know how to do those. They don't know how to make soup. They don't know how to make soup from scratch. Like, they have no concept of it. It's been lost. There's a generation that got kind of dumped to the wayside when it comes down to making jam. My grandma taught me how to make jam when I was like, I don't know, fucking 10 years old. I started making jam with my grandma. But other people, they didn't get that. So this is the same thing when we talk about knowledge, right? Like, it's not just about having the knowledge of what to do in an emergency, i.e. bugging out, etc. There's also that thing of knowledge of do you know how to make things? Like, it's no good buying 10 kilos of flour if you don't know how to make a loaf of bread, or you don't know how to make even biscuits out of it, right? There's a knowledge level there that we need to get back to. And it's, as far as prepping goes, that's such important information. If you don't know how to make a bowl of soup proper, like from scratch, not Campbell's, but actual make a bowl of soup, that's a piece of knowledge you need to teach yourself. It's important. Yeah, Deb, I'm waiting for my cabbages to come so I can ferment some of my cabbages as well. Canning jars are at a premium, guys. And I'll put this out because we've got to go. My internet is really getting bad now. I'm in part of a canning group on Facebook that is massive. I was one of the unfuckers put me in the group because him and I were talking canning, and he was like, you need to join this group. It's American-centric, based mostly in America. I do have a lot of people from other parts of the world, but this is a massive group. Like, there's got to be 80, 90,000 people in this group. Hundreds of posts a day. They can't get Mason's jars anywhere in the States. Proper canning jars are disappearing off the shelf so fucking fast. People, I'm shocked at the amount of things I'm seeing of posts being like, I'm completely out of jars, but my sister-in-law saw some, so we drove 3 hours to a store to go buy a couple of cases of canning jars. Lids, yeah, Pamela, lids put everywhere. No one can get lids. No one. Okay, so this is an indicator, people. Like, this is a serious indicator. When all of a sudden, people, and most of the people in this group are they're very much muggles. They're not talking conspiracy. They're not talking about pole shifts. They're just people who come from backgrounds who have gone like, oh, you know what? Maybe we need to get some extra food in the house. Yeah. Maybe, we used to always can, about what the one lady was hysterical. She goes, I can about the equivalent of about 30 kilos of tomatoes every year. And she says, this year with what was going on, I put in twice the tomato plant. So I've got about, she says, and they did really well. So I've got about 120 kilos of tomatoes to put down into sauce. And she called her whole family in. Like, was like, everyone, it's sauce making weekend. And went nuts and the whole thing. But the same thing, she was like talking about it. It was like, put the call out to everyone she knew. Find jars, find jars, find jars, find jars, find jars, find jars. And I'll help you get some tomato sauce, but you got to bring me some jars. This is a major, planned food shortages are coming. Green ozone, you're not wrong. We know these things are going on. We know that a lot of the states, down in the States, we saw, it was the one article out of, I want to say, it was either Washington State or Oregon State, where it was a mainstream news show, and they showed this massive fucking warehouse filled to the roof with pallets of dried and canned food that the state had put aside in case of emergency. And it was a new thing. It wasn't a this is what we do every year. It was like, no, we made the decision that with certain things going on, it's best that we put this in. And it was like a football field size warehouse filled floor to ceiling with food. And people wonder why they can't get canned goods right now at the stores.
So one little tip about canning jars, if you can't find them at the store or at like, a grocery store or something like that, I used to work at a craft store, and I was surprised to learn that we sold canning jars.
Yeah. You
that's
can.
odd places.
Yeah, no, absolutely, but they're expensive. Like, that's the problem. Like, I went looking for canning jars. Now, these are okay for jams. Like, this is a jam jar, jelly jar in this case. Those I can buy here, no problem, because there's tons and tons of jar companies. When you talk about actual canning jars for, like, putting down veggies, for putting down meats, etc., like Ball and Masons, etc., they're expensive. Like, I was shocked at the price. Like, you're lucky here, even on eBay. I was looking on eBay UK, people are charging $3 and $4 quid a jar, or a set of 12 jars, and like we're talking little 500 ml ones, not the big, big ones, like a 500 ml, and a set of 12 of them, and they're charging like 20 quid plus shipping. So all the traffic can bear, right? This
very
is it.
Quickly, with Australia, it came up in the last week, excuse me, that because of lockdown, people aren't picking the fruit. So there may be a lot of pick all the fruit, and they're sort of like, well, what do we do? And I know, what was it, 3 months ago, we were seeing like all those food being thrown away because they couldn't transport it or something as well.
Yep.
And it just another put that in is 3 days long. The world could end in 3 days if the supply line stops.
Exactly. We found on our little walk that we do regularly for foraging, which is really close by. This is a little walk that we can do, and I got a ton of elderberries, so I put down elderberry cordial. I got lots of blackberries, and the berry jams. We found a tree with full of crab apples, and I made crab apple jelly, and it's phenomenal. You sit there and go, oh, crab apples are now. Oh my God, no! This crab apple jelly is so good. I could have literally just with a spoon and sat there and ate the whole thing. As a matter of fact, I'm just waiting for it to set finally so I can crack open a jar. It's free food. That's free food, right? Like, that's free food. And making jams and butters, like crab apple butter, is easy to make. It's not difficult. Doesn't take any, like canning vegetables and meat, that takes a little more finesse. It takes more equipment kind of thing. But like putting down a couple of jars of hell, if it really came down to it, I used to make apple butter and just put it in Ziploc bags and put it in the freezer and keep it that way. It's not ideal, right?
Okay. Yeah. I know we're at the end of the show, so I'll leave you with a little bit of a giggle. With that was used, he was using modeling from the University of Melbourne, and he referred to it as, we put all the information and the data into a supercomputer, and he's getting lambasted for that because he's got a supercomputer now. And being part of the conspiracy world, I'm a visitor now. I don't live there because they're all nuts. But it's like, oh, great. Now AI is going to pop up again because it's all modeling and like exactly the same thing as the modeling of climate change.
Yeah.
Never
Because
been
we know
right.
how those algorithms are so perfect.
Yeah. Well, didn't the whole thing that started off the whole lockdown, the London Institute or whatever, 500,000 Britons will die. And 3 months in, oh yeah, we should have moved the decimal point somewhere. And but the media ignored the second part when they revised it.
Exactly. Jimmy, go lie down and take care of yourself. Okay, guys, I'm gonna let you go. My dogs are dancing around me because now it's their dinner time, and they're reminding me very, 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 very much so. They're actually stalking poor Nick's trying to make dinner for the dogs, and they're stalking him at the moment. I'm going to let you go. We're going to have an astrology update very, very soon. The ladies and I are just kind of trying to figure out our timing. It'll be a Saturday, and again, it's going to be that time that North America is not going to want to attend. So it'll probably be like 6 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard. It's the only time we can get us all together. But hopefully we can have that ironed out in the next couple of days so we can get that kind of planned in for everything. I will put the link to the first aid kit recording down below here as well. And yeah, I'll try and remember what notes all the things I've said I'm going to include with the article. We'll try. That's it. So I'll talk to you guys later. And bye everyone. Bye.